I mean, there's probably a lot of questions I would ask as a personal trainer. It's all about the process. And that starts with your mentality. You go into the gym, you don't know how to eat, you don't know how to lift, you don't know how to do this, like you're just going to be lost. Uncertainty, low confidence, injuries. You need guidance if you don't know. Nobody's looking at you like you think you are or like you think they are. You're telling yourself that. Closing off the voices that weren't even really there. You know, if you dress nice to go or like in clothes that you feel good in, like you perform better just because you have more self-confidence. Focusing more on where you want it to be rather than what is going to go wrong.
Welcome to your podcast, Beyond Capable. This is your host, Eric Trinidad. And with us is Nick Marlatt, correct?
Yes, sir.
Your story was really impactful. Seeing that I met you in jiu-jitsu, and not only you do that, but you do also bodybuilding. But behind all that, you were had a few pounds on you before that happened,
to say the least.
So, in your own words, you know, what was that process from going to being overweight to doing bodybuilding?
So, you know, obviously, once I gained all the weight, I did not see myself as the fitness guy that I was before I gained all the weight. I was a completely different person. My mindset was different. My body was different. And I was just not as, you know, with it. You know, my wife was still we still worked at the same gym. So she was still working out and everything. And it was kind of hard for me to just sit there and, you know, see her working out there when I could be doing it too, but I'm just not because I'm depressed or just not having it, you know. I don't know why I wasn't getting back out there, but I just wasn't. I wasn't in the mindset to want to do anything healthy for myself at all, even though I was extremely unhealthy. So it's kind of weird how that works when you're in that rut, like you're at the bottom of the hole almost, and you're like, I know you might even have the ladder right next to you and you just won't climb it because whatever reason, you know, you're upset, you think you can't do it again, you think that, you know, you don't have the capabilities to be the person you were before or become a different person entirely.
And during that process, not only did you regain the weight, but you got injured at the gym. So you're dealing with the fact that you can't work out, but now you won't work out.
Yeah.
So all that struggle, what's going on in your head?
So, you know, like you said, I went from I can't work out to now I can work out, but I'm not, because like I said, I was just, you know, in my mind at the bottom of a hole, like just unwilling to climb out. It was almost like I was down there, I got stuck, and then somebody came to rescue me, and I was just not having it, you know, because I was just there. Like I had almost gotten comfortable being unhealthy. Like, you know, just like people develop good habits, I had developed bad habits, and it's hard to break them once you're there.
So how long did it last between that moment when you started not caring to the point that you start caring?
I would say it was kind of sporadic. So, you know, there was a 2-year period that I was severely overweight. I was like essentially obese. So I would, you know, build up the courage to go back to the gym and then maybe go for like 2 weeks. And while I'm there, I hate being there. Like I'm not the guy, like I'm wearing, you know, big baggy clothes because I hate how I look. My wife's with me. She looks great. You know, it almost feels like people are looking at me like, oh, she's bringing her big boyfriend husband to the gym to get him in shape. And it's just not how you want people to look at you, like the bottom of the totem pole almost.
Although that was like the way you were thinking. Did anybody actually told you that?
Never. No.
It's
it was
up.
all internal.
Yeah. It's how messed up how so elaborate more about that. It's like you're thinking, you're having these thoughts how people are judging you.
Yeah.
So what else was going on in your head?
So, you know, like if anybody even looked my way, I would be like, oh, like they're thinking this and that about me. They're thinking, what's he doing with that girl? What's he doing in here? Like, oh, like, you know, I probably won't see him next week because he's going to quit or whatever. And like you said, like nobody's saying this to me. This is all just like stuff going through my head that's irrational, essentially. So, you know, it's just, it's hard. Like you said, being with somebody who looks so much better than you in the gym and, you got all these other people in the gym who are also fit. Most people that are in the gym, I mean, you walk in and everybody's fit, and then you're the one guy that's like, you could be the fattest guy in the gym at that moment.
Yeah.
And that's just sucks, you
Mhm.
know? And that's going to brew bad thoughts for somebody who's been at the bottom of the hole like that for, 6 months, a year.
So those you said 6 months to a year. So you said you went back and forth to the gym.
Mhm.
So between those back and forth, what was going on in your head? Like, do I want to keep on doing this? Like, why am I doing this again? Do I even bother? Like, what was going on?
I think with those times before I actually stay consistent, I didn't even give myself the chance to, get to a consistent mindset. Like my mindset never changed at that time when I
Okay.
was going back for, 2 weeks and then I would stop. I was still just looking down on myself. I was like, I'm here, but I'm not here, like I shouldn't, like, I just want to go sit on the couch. Like I'm good. I don't need to get in shape well, I know I need to, but like, I don't want to put in the work. I'd rather just be comfortable, So that's a big thing for it. I feel like is you just get complacent, just being comfortable, cause it's easy to sit on the couch and drink and eat Cheetos and that feels good,
It does.
in a certain way.
Mhm.
But then you go to the gym and that doesn't feel good anymore. And now you don't feel good doing something healthy for yourself, which is really tough. But, I mean, it's kind of hard to just get the ball rolling initially because it feels like you're pushing it up a hill or something.
What clicked in your mind to get the ball rolling?
I would say that it's more just trying to think of like the consistency of it. So it was like just being consistent enough to break past that point and be like, okay, like I've lost 5 pounds now. So like you just build that momentum kind of. And getting in the gym after doing all that or after being big and everything, like, I mean, it's going to suck regardless. Like, it's just not like if you're going to be in there for like 2 months and you're going to be like the biggest guy in there or close to it, or just somebody who doesn't look fit at all. And it might be 3, 4, 5 months that you're feeling like that. But I think that kind of just closing off the outside or what you perceive to be the outside looking in. Because like you said, I mean, nobody's thinking this stuff about me, but I'm thinking this guy's looking at me like I'm some fat loser, or this girl is looking at me like I'm a fat loser, or why is, this girl with this guy. But,
So reading off of that, during that process that you were going back and forth, how you and your wife doing that during that time, or how you were dealing with everything with your wife?
I think I was harder on myself than she would have ever been. I was looking at it like, like she's, like super fit. I'm not, obviously. So like we almost, in my mind, it felt like we were drifting apart. In her mind, maybe not. And it wasn't like I was losing interest in her at all. I just felt like I was falling further and further behind and she was moving further and further ahead. And, there likely wasn't even a real gap or any sort of distance between us. But in my mind, as I fell further and further behind, it just felt like there was. And maybe that had something to do with myself. I just felt like I was getting further and further from who I used to be, and not really further from her.
Yeah.
And she never thought of me differently, realistically, but I thought of myself differently. So I'm further away from who I think I am. And she's still right there with who I am because, she doesn't know what's going on inside my head. I'm not really talking to her about it, because it's hard.
Don't you think that it was probably like your insecurities getting worse that probably made you think that, why would she look at me? Or the fact that we're drifting apart is because I don't look as appealing to her. All that bullshit can go through our heads.
Yeah, it is. Oh, it definitely is.
Referring to?
Yeah, I completely agree that's just, I mean, it's just not the way to think. Like it's not at all. And it's hard not to think like that.
Yeah.
Like it's just as hard to stop eating or go to the gym as it is to stop thinking like I'm just a loser or I'm just fat forever. Or, like this person's thinking about me this way. My wife doesn't think I'm attractive anymore. This and that. You know, nobody, like you said, nobody's telling you that.
Uh-huh.
You're telling yourself that. And, you know, I think that translates into even just going to the gym in the first place. So, you know, you could tell yourself like, nah, I'm not going to be consistent. Like, hey, I'm going to go today. Like I might walk in there, I'm going to get a half-assed workout and then I'm going to leave. I'm never going to go back. But it's having that, I feel like that closing off of what you perceive to be the outside. So I think that was what it was for me. Was It wasn't necessarily like, no, I need to stop thinking about it. It's like, no, I'm going to stop thinking about what everybody else thinks, even though they're not thinking anything.
Okay.
In my mind, they are. So I'm just going to stop caring. And, you know, if I miss a day, I'm not going to be hard on myself because nobody else is being hard on me, you know? So I think that was a big thing, was just closing off the voices that weren't even really there.
Yeah.
Or they were mine. They weren't other people's. And I thought they were other people's, you know?
So that was kind of your turning point. It's like, gotta stop thinking about people outside. Because sometimes, not all sometimes, but it's hard to close that part. You know, the opinions of people, how people perceive you, because our daily life is the way it is. Like social media, society, everybody's giving an opinion about something. How many likes that picture has, you know, comments, and all these things, views. It's the perception of what's interesting or what's not, what's ugly, what's not. So we get into that, in that mix of crap.
Oh yeah. And I mean, you look at comments you could see somebody who's ripped on Instagram, look through the comments and there's still people.
Photoshop.
Yeah. Photoshop, fake. Oh, you're not that big still.
Yeah.
And they could be huge. And, you know, like, so, you know, it's almost in my mind, like, oh, if somebody's making fun of this guy. Like, what are they thinking about me in the gym? You know, and they might not be thinking anything because, you know, people on Instagram, this guy could be anywhere. Like millions and millions of people are seeing that, you know. I'm sure if a million people saw me in the gym and every single one of them came up to me and had something to say, like somebody's going to say something messed up.
Of course.
But the 30 people that are there, 25 of them probably don't even notice. You know, nobody's looking at you like you think you are or like you think they are. You know, it doesn't matter. They don't care what you're wearing. Like it doesn't, you know, I would walk in and be like, oh, I can't, like, I'm wearing this ratty shirt. Like I'm wearing these pants that are like way too big and hanging past my knees. And, you know, these shoes that I've mowed the lawn 1,000 times in, they're green. And, you know, I'm the most overweight guy here. My beard's scraggly. Like, you know, I was like across the board, you know, just low self-confidence. But nobody cares, you know?
But if you think of it, we reflect the way we carry ourselves is the way we feel. You know, I mean, that's the way I see it. I'm not saying that's the way it is. But at least like I know when I do certain things, that my mood is different. The way I feel, the way I look. So for you were saying that you were going to the gym like all raggedy, but and correct me if I'm wrong, but you were feeling probably inside even worse.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely. I think there's even studies that, you know, if you dress nice to go or like in clothes that you feel good in, like you perform better just because you have more self-confidence. But I mean, even when I was working at the powerlifting gym and I was literally getting bigger and bigger by the day at the desk, like there were days where like I had really long hair and it doesn't lay down like this, you know? So I would walk in the morning and my hair is literally just sticking like straight up and straight out. And I don't even care. I'm just like,
nothing like that.
Yeah. I just literally didn't even care what in my mind, everybody already thought as low as they could possibly think of me.
You're like, fuck
so why would I even, you know, try to do anything about it?
So now you decided to lose the weight, right? You decided to block all the extra voices going on, thoughts. So now you find yourself acquiring a discipline. So what was the drive to continue that? What was that moment? Or tell me what was that moment when you said, like, I gotta keep on doing this?
I think that more so it was going into it not being so hard on myself. Because when I'm big and I'm going to the gym and I'm thinking like, everybody hates me. Like I need to work extra hard to get this weight off. Like I need to go do crazy cardio. I need to like essentially like kill my body in the gym day one.
Yeah.
You know, and that's bad for a bunch of reasons. but that's how you feel when you walk in, because you just want to get the faster results. And you feel like if you go in and you just like push as hard as you can and go as hard as you can, like that the results are going to come faster, but they're not. So I think like taking that step back and being like, okay, like you got to look at it as a long-term goal, you know, like I'm not going to like, don't look at it as I need to lose 30 pounds in 6 months or else I failed, you know. You need to look at it like, all right, I am going to build healthy habits and I'm just going to keep doing them until things happen. I'm not going to worry about the scale. I'm not going to worry about anything else. I'm just going to continuously do things that I know are good and I know are working. And I'm going to eat where I'm going to track my food. So I know I'm in a deficit, you know, and you just got to trust that process, which is easy for me because I had done it before. You know, I was used to tracking macros and I knew how to work out. So I think that if you don't know how to do those things, then you need to look into tracking macros minimally if you're going to want to lose weight, because if you're in a deficit, you're going to lose weight. If you're not, you're not. And like knowing that is going to help you exponentially. And also, if you don't know how to work out, you probably should hire a personal trainer, because if you go in, you already feel bad about yourself and you don't know how to diet and you don't know how to work out, like that is just going to be a shitstorm of uncertainty, low confidence, and
injuries.
Yeah, injuries. You know, you're going to do things wrong. You hurt yourself. Like you think you're eating healthy, but really you're eating in a huge surplus because you think putting a bunch of ranch on your salad's good. And really you're eating like 600 calories and you could have gotten a McDonald's hamburger for 400 calories.
Uh-huh.
You know, so it's just changing your mindset from, okay, like I need to be extreme about this, to no, I just need to chill out, like do what I know is right, like almost scientifically, and look at it from the long term. Like in a year, where am I going to be? Not, I need to lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks.
Okay. So now, you decided to take on this journey and this task because, you know, you're juggling marriage. I think your wife was already pregnant this time.
Yes.
Or so when you lost the weight, you had your kid already? Or
Yeah.
okay.
He was almost 2 or almost 1. It was October. His birthday's December. So
when he was 1 year old, my math is bad, you were still overweight.
Yeah, essentially. He was like 8 months when I started my journey.
So how was that? Like dealing with the fact that you have a newborn in the house, your wife needs all this help, and you're being, you know, out of shape. It takes a toll on you. Like the all late nights, and tell me about that.
Well, I think honestly having the kid helped me with everything, just because I was forced to be responsible in some way for my son. You know, I had to get a new job because I needed health insurance, you know. So that's not something I would have done ever, but I had to do it for him. You know, I have to get up early because he's getting up early, or I have to get up in the middle of the night because he's doing that. So it was almost this forced responsibility that I feel like kind of kickstarted my overall being responsible, because I hadn't tried to go back to the gym the entire time he was born until this 8-month period. So, you know, taking care of him and getting up with him in the night, making sure he's fed, making sure that he's got everything he needs to be successful, you know, as a baby. But, you know, still kind of just made me look at myself and be like, what are you doing? Like, you might not even be here in 30 years if you keep going with what
Correct.
you're doing.
Yeah.
Like I was so concerned about my health, like, but I wasn't willing to do anything about it because I was just not motivated at all. You know, and I think he kind of helped me with that because, like I said, this just forced responsibility. Like, I got to care about something. And if I'm going to care about everything he does to be healthy, like, why shouldn't I make sure that I'm there to do that all the time, or I'm able to, you know, play with him and get up off the floor and everything, you know?
It's amazing how when you having your son have that accountability factor on you, which made you like, well, I have to do something here. Not because I want to look good, it's because I want to be in my family's life for a long time.
Yes. And active too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to, you know, I have this picture of me holding my kid when we were like 1, and I still got like long hair and a beard. I'm huge. And then I got a picture of us in the pool, and like, I don't know, I can even see the difference where, you know, I probably held him for a few minutes and I might have been gassed just walking around the backyard with him. But,
Yeah.
you know, then I got a video of me like throwing him in the pool, and like, we're just playing for like an hour. And if I had never done anything, then I would not have been able to do that. So
Missed it out.
yeah, I would have, you know, and I think that was a big thing. Just looking ahead, being like, where am I going to end up? You know, cause like I'm looking at him like, he's not going to stop growing. Like he's going to start seeing what I do eventually and do it also. So, you know, setting those healthy habits for him is also motivating because, you know, I don't want him to see me eat a whole pizza every day and sit on the couch and talk horribly about myself or look miserable. And, you know, I want him to see me motivated and happy, and I'm getting up and going to the gym. I'm making food. That's healthy. Like, you know.
So now that's happening now in your life. How's your wife dealing with all this?
She was also kind of, you know, she was postpartum. So, you know, she gained weight also. We were kind of in the same boat. She was not nearly as big as I was. She's still beautiful, you know, so I'm still the big guy with the beautiful girl. And, you know, I think that it was just hard for her adjusting because she's the one that's got to get up and, you know, breastfeed him and make sure that he's good, like all across the board. Like I could sleep through that. I'm not breastfeeding him, you know? So I think that it really took a hit on her mentally, and me being, you know, not very motivated myself, I'm sure was just as hard on her. So, you know, the last thing I want to do is be a burden to my family. And not to say that, you know, being big is being a burden to your family, but, you know, being negative, having bad habits, you know, instead of saying, oh, I'm going to cook chicken tonight, oh, let's just order a pizza every night, you know.
Like you said, your wife was going through a process that she is her first time being a mom, correct?
Yes.
So emotionally, you being that way, you were unavailable to support her.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah,
So
I would say so.
You were like, well, I got to do something about this because you love your wife and you want to be a good example to your son, good role model. You got to make these changes and to be able to be that person you want to be.
Yeah.
So now all this passed, and now you're actually going to try on bodybuilding, which is a big difference from not caring. So bodybuilding is really difficult because a lot of discipline. Well, you know more than I do. So what made you go to that part?
So she actually, that's a long time goal of hers.
Okay.
And it just is almost an extension of like, how far can I take this, you know? Because after I lost my first 60 pounds, like I was just as motivated as I could be, you know, because I had already done it. Like I did it already. Like I accomplished it. I lost the 60 pounds. And now I'm like, all right, now let's see how lean I can get. Maybe I can do a bodybuilding show with her, you know? And I did get super lean. But I think mentally it was just like I was already had the ball rolling, like the ball was going fast. So I just wanted to capitalize on it. I wanted to just keep pushing it as hard as I could, you know?
Yeah, momentum.
Yeah, exactly.
Momentum. So now your wife competed recently.
Yeah.
So seeing her going from like seeing the whole that process, you know, I'm assuming that helps too.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, doing it together was just like the best thing we could have, because we basically in tandem lost weight together. Oh. She started maybe like a month or two after I did, going back to the gym and getting back into everything. And, you know, I was going to jujitsu, and like we just both like just watched the scale drop and drop and drop. And, you know, like it wasn't easy for the first couple months. Like when I was in there not losing any weight, I don't even know if I lost weight in the first 3 months, but it was that process where I just knew what I needed to do. And I had turned off what I was thinking in my head mentally, you know, about, oh, like, what's this guy thing? Like, I didn't care about what that guy thought about me anymore. You know, oh, your wife's, no, she's not. You're fine. Like, just do what you got to do.
She's still there for a reason.
She's still here. Yeah. She was there through you with all of it. You know?
Exactly.
So it was just kind of like focusing more on where you want it to be rather than what is going to go wrong. You know, oh, this guy's going to think I'm doing this wrong, or oh, I'm not, this guy's 60 pounds lighter than me and he's doing twice the weight I am, you know, like that's not easy to see. You're a powerlifter, you know that.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just like almost like an ego. It's like a negative ego that you have where you're like, like I'm not even going to try, you know.
It's our biggest enemy, and especially in men. Our egos are biggest obstacle.
They are,
you know. But so you're doing great now, you know, and I believe having that support system and your wife and you doing it together went a long way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's great that seeing a couple, you know, help each other out, and because at the end of the day, it's not about how you look; it's about you being healthy. Heart disease in the United States is really high, and you know, take care of each other or ourselves. That can happen. So now you're in this phase that you're gonna start bulking to do another competition next year, right?
Yes.
So talk about that.
Yeah, that's actually I'm kind of going back through it a little bit because you know right now I'm 220, and my lowest I was 170. So in the 5 months I put on like 50 pounds, which I've been trying to do, but you know I'm got this constant battle going through my head on whether I really even want to do bodybuilding or not, because I know I have to gain weight to put on muscle because I don't take steroids or anything. So you know I'm not going to grow as fast as somebody who might be using something. So I know I got to put on weight, like, and being 220 right now, you know, doesn't feel great. Like I like going to the gym because I'm big in a better way. Like 220 now looks way different than it did last year, but it still doesn't look good to me, you know? And people will come up to me in the gym and be like, oh, you look so big. Like you're getting big, dude. You're looking good. And you know, I always give them like you know, because in my head, I'm like, yeah, I know.
There we go again.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I've got this constant fear in the back of my head that's like, you know, oh, don't get fat again. Just don't go back to where you were again, you know?
So that fear, you know, is there fear or is it accountability or insecurities happening again? It's tough.
It is.
It's tough, huh?
Yeah. Just like changing your body like I've done in the past 2 years is tough. Even when you get lean, like I look at myself when I was lean, like the leanest I've been, 6% body fat, I still saw the fat on me. I saw whatever fat there was. That's what I saw. That's what I was looking at.
Well, body dysmorphia is a big thing in the United States.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how much compliments, I can attest to that. How much compliments you get or whatever, we still find something wrong with us. Because we're portrayed due to social media, TV, all these things, what fitness should be or what a good body should look. And so we go take that as a guide. Don't get me wrong, they look amazing, you know, but people don't know backstories of what people do to get to that point.
Yeah.
They don't talk about that. It's nice to see it on Instagram. Some of the stuff is even Photoshop.
Yeah.
So, you know, but people don't know that. And so they think that's the standard of beauty. That's the standard of fitness. And they might be as rotten people inside.
Yeah.
Not really happy.
And especially in bodybuilding, because you're up there as peeled as you can be, and you're with 6, 7 other guys that are also as peeled as they can be. And, you know, you come in 5th, and if you go ask the judge, like, oh, why did I come in 5th? They're going to rip you apart. They're going to tell you like, oh, this is too flat. Like you're too fat here. Like, you know, you're not peeled enough. You're not big enough. You're not this. And you've like, I mean, you look better than you're like top 1% of people physique wise. You know, that's the hard thing about that sport is like, and I haven't even done a show yet, but you know, I've just seen it through, you know, some friends I have that are in it, other people that I follow on Instagram, and it just makes you like look at everything under a microscope, which is really hard to do as a person that was, you know, extremely overweight at one point and kind of heading back towards there purposefully, but
you're bulky, dude.
Yeah, I know, but
still,
it sucks. Like honestly, every day I think like I'm just gonna go back and only do jiu-jitsu because I don't want to do a show. Like I don't want to be big anymore. I just want to start cutting. Like I want to get back to where I was comfortable. But this is almost like shutting that off again.
Yeah.
In the opposite way, because now I've got to shut off the outside voices. Nobody cares. I probably look great in the gym. Like I probably do, but not when I'm looking in the mirror. I'd see the fat man, but
Is it because at one point you were at a, I won't say a peak, but you saw yourself at a different stage in your life, and because you don't see that anymore, do you think that's why you're hard on yourself?
yeah, especially because you mean when I was big?
No, I mean when you were leaner.
Oh, when I was lean, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, once you have those pictures, it's like it's impossible not to compare yourself.
Because a good point, like when you were leaner, you look a certain way, but you compare yourself with the way you were before to now, you look amazing.
Yeah,
So it's how we go back to how we're so like hard on ourselves because you're still healthy. Your wife is super happy because you take care of yourself.
Mhm.
You and your son can do all these many things. So you have a struggle between either you do the show or just continue doing jujitsu. So it's what are your plans now?
So I'm still planning on doing the show. I'm still lifting and eating and everything. So I don't have any plans to stop at the moment, but
Okay.
I might wake up in the morning and be like, I'm absolutely done and I'm not doing it. But again, like I'm just trying right now to get back to my roots to when I started losing the weight and realize that I'm gaining weight for a reason. And if I don't do this, then I won't do as well in the show as I need to. So it's again just shutting off those outside voices that are not even really there.
Hey, we did it once, you do it again.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So, in that note, if anybody out there was watching this episode and might be in your shoes, in your current shoes, or in your shoes they were before, what would be something that you would tell them?
For both situations, you just have to trust the process. Like whatever your process is, that's the biggest thing is if you go, like I said before, if you go into the gym, you don't know how to eat, you don't know how to lift, you don't know how to do this, like you're just going to be lost. And it's just going to I'm not going to say everybody because there might be one guy that goes in there and he's just hell bent and he's going to do everything. But for the normal person, like you need guidance if you don't know, and you need to just take it easy on yourself and not worry about, oh, I missed this day, or, oh, I didn't go hard enough, or, man, it's been 3 weeks and I haven't lost any weight. Like you just need to find your process, know that it's going to work, and just keep doing it just every day, one day at a time. There was David Goggins' book we talked about. That was a big fire under my ass. When I read that, I was like ready to work out every single day, and like he talks about a lot, just like that voice, it always creeps back in, even for him, why are you doing this? Like you could quit. You're justified right now. You could just quit right now. But, like you really just have to keep going. And that doesn't mean kill yourself over it. That just means show up every day. Even if you get a shitty workout in, that's better than not getting a workout in.
It's showing up.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah, that book's really powerful. If you step back and look at the big message of it, it's not about what he did. It's like how he did it.
Yep.
Like he actually didn't quit.
Yep.
Like your story and his story are similar. I mean, none of you see us, but
yeah, oh yeah.
But he was heavy. But he was heavy before he was a CEO.
Yeah.
And he had that drive that I'm going to do it. And look at you today. So, any plans for next year? Any competitions, jiu-jitsu, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna do. I think they have the Tampa Open again in February, so I'm planning on doing that and Pans, and I'll probably do a bodybuilding show July, August, maybe September, depending. So I got a lot of time, and I'm planning on building till like April. So I think at this point, personally, I probably need to start main gaining to where I'm like eating at maintenance and not really gaining any more weight.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the plans for next year. Just
awesome.
Keep it going. Don't fall off. Don't get fat.
So before we wrap up, let's say if I was a person who came to you for help, I'm sitting across from you, what would you tell me?
So, there's probably a lot of questions I would ask as a personal trainer, but just to get your mind in the right place. Like, I know you're probably feeling super depressed. You're down on yourself. You hate how you look. You hate going into the gym, just like I did. But, you just need to put that aside if possible and get your process down, whatever it may be. I'm a bodybuilder, but not everybody's a bodybuilder. I do jiu-jitsu. Not everybody's going to do jiu-jitsu. A lot of people just want to get in shape. So you need to find out what your goal is and find out how you can get there sustainably without killing yourself, without making yourself feel worse than you already do, without, creating habits that you're not going to be able to practice once you hit your goal. So it's all about the process, and that starts with your mentality. So, when you walk into the gym, just focus on lifting for the day, and then go the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day. And you'll wake up in 6 months and you'll be a different person.
One day at a time.
One day at a time.
I truly enjoy your story. Some of it resonate with me. Awesome to hear these things for people like you. Well, Nate, thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for tuning in, and see you next time for more Beyond Killable Stories.